ridership numbers without trying to work within communities to try to show the authority what could be viable paths for the project, what your exact concerns are, and what a wish list could be. The Budget Committee addressed the ridership numbers last year and made some requirements that are attached with funding going forward. So the ridership has been addressed. UC Berkeley and another entity is looking at some of the numbers. But I would suggest that in my own community, where we have received funding and where we have had problems, I have worked with the community in Merced County, where we have our ag industry and our local elected officials all on the same page. I have also been working with the county to the south of me in Madera County, not in my district, but we have brought people together who have the understanding that this is not just black and white like Caltrans projects where engineers just make a decision and that's just it. We've had a back and forth where we've got buy-in, where the authority has been flexible, they've been nimble, they've been willing to look at all other alternatives because, again, we want community buy-in. I would suggest that what could be more productive is if we could work together with that kind of a mindset in mind. Another thing that I pointed out to the ag industry from Merced up and down to Bakersfield that I represent as the ag chair is that in Italy, they have used a program where it seems voluntary to those property owners who have been impacted because they have brought coalitions together where they have worked and they have tried to find viable paths instead of just the authority moving forward and forcing upon property owners and communities what the pathway will be. Particularly in the Atherton-Menlo Park area, there are 3 points that I would want to please be sure to convey to you all, and that is, number one, for almost a year now, the plan has been to utilize the existing Caltrain corridor because Bob Doty from the Caltrain system had secured permission from the FRA about a year ago to be able to share track and have temporal separations between freight train and high-speed rail, where freight would run from midnight to 5 a.m. so that they could share the track and not be required to use additional right-of-way that would upset those in the community. Secondly, when the High-Speed Rail Authority submitted their FRA application last year for funding, they revised it so that they weren't any longer asking for money funding from San Francisco all the way to San Jose in the first round of funding, but rather they split it up as we had in the Central Valley because we had problems going forward. And the money that they were asking for was from San Francisco to Burlingame, where there wasn't as much opposition and concern. And third, as the author, I want to be sure that people understand that the way we wrote the legislation was to allow the Altamont corridor to use a portion of the bond funds for the Altamont to be complementary to the Pacheco Pass. And also there is nothing that would preclude the Altamont from having to go behind the Pacheco Pass. I know you have concerns about the desire to have cars taken off of your local highways and that you feel that therefore the Altamont corridor would be a better use of the money. The way that I wrote the bill is if there's a portion, a segment of Phase 2 that's ready to go before Phase 1, that segment in Phase 2, for example, the Altamont could use the funds before, for example, the Pacheco Pass. So I just wanted to be sure to share those thoughts with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Galgiani. Seeing no other comments, would you like to? Oh, Mr. Jeffries, sorry.
I'll be quick. I think you testified on this. Just two questions. What's wrong with the existing demand study? I mean, what's the problem with that? And then two, how long would a new study take?
So what's wrong with the current model?
Yeah, I mean, where'd they go wrong? In brief. I don't need
it's brief. You should have a packet in front of you, and it's just a picture. So the picture says everything. There's some pie charts, the last 2 pages. Not that one, the other packet. Yeah, I know. So we've also just given you the survey that, this is the actual survey that people at airports in California in 2005 received asking them whether they'd take the high-speed rail, and that's the basis of the current model. But if you look at the other packet, the last page are two pages with pie charts, and the Caltrain study shows how Californians currently travel, which is unfortunately by car in almost every mode. And the second pie chart shows how who Cambridge surveyed to see if they were interested in taking a train. And the unfortunate thing is that they mostly asked people who are currently on trains or on planes, who are the two groups most likely to take a high-speed rail train. And they ran into problems with it, and they spent the rest of the study, the rest of the 2 years, in a giant game of whack-a-mole trying to make it fit. And this led to a whole series of unintended consequences.
So basically what she just said is that the data that they collected was just bad data. So what Cambridge Systematics did is somebody else did the survey at a McDonald's or at an airport. Cambridge Systematics came in and took that data and then ran it through their models. And so the effect is garbage in, garbage out. So even if you continue to reanalyze it, no matter how many peer review committees you have, you're still going to analyze bad data. So the end result is still going to be bad. So that's why having a new ridership study is so critical if we want to either validate what's happened or if we want to find out what the real answer should be.
Yeah, and just to answer the second part of your question, my understanding from ITS is that a study would take between 12 and 18 months. So, this is in comparison to the proposal to do this peer review process, which would have 6 to 8 meetings over 2 years, would basically be the remodel version, right? Or you could do the teardown and have it ready in less time and millions of dollars less.
I mean, I can't think of a more important issue for this committee and other committees in this building to be working on, where you have tens of billions of dollars at stake in data errors, well-intentioned, whatever, adversely impacting the outcomes, making bad decisions, bad assumptions. And I don't know if they're bad. I mean, I have to listen to the experts testify as to what's good and what's bad and try and make a decision. And we are in a position where this project is getting more and more controversial, more questions about the data, more questions about ridership, the true costs of the project. The discussion is now occurring about, well, what if we went back to the voters and said, let's take that $10 billion and reinvest it into rapid transit projects and other areas that are going to serve inner cities and move commuters around at a more efficient cost. I mean, there isn't anything much more important than this in the Transportation Committee because of its long-term impacts. And unfortunately, as you can see by the audience up here, not attracting a lot of attention when you're worrying about billions and billions of dollars. So I support what you're trying to do here. We should be guilty of second-guessing and asking more questions when we're talking a price tag this big.
That's right.
So I support your effort.
Would you like to close, Mr. Jones?
Yes, absolutely. When I got elected to come to the State Assembly, I did not come as a strong advocate to promote the high-speed rail, nor a strong advocate to kill the high-speed rail. As a matter of fact, I'm formulating my opinions about the high-speed rail as I serve here. But one thing as a representative of the state of California I am passionate about is making sure that we make well-informed decisions. As representatives and as folks that are as stewards of the purse strings of the state of California, entrusted with the voters to protect the Treasury, I believe that if we're going to move forward with the high-speed rail project, we should be moving forward on legitimate information, not illegitimate information, and there is significant doubt that the current information is legitimate. This item came to my attention through my service on the Budget Subcommittee working with transportation issues and learning that the High-Speed Rail Authority has been delinquent, denying, however you want to say, refusing to provide the proper information to this body that the proposition requires them to provide. And this is just one more tool for us as stewards of the Treasury of the state of California to require the high-speed rail to live up to its responsibility as written in the current proposition. So to address the issue of wanting to kill the project, That is not my desire. And as a result of conversations with the committee staff, indicating that the funding issue could have the potential of killing the project, that's why they asked for the amendment, and I'm willing to accept the amendment to remove that part of the bill so that we can move forward without killing the bill. A couple of things I want to clarify. The bill will not affect federal dollars or impact the Central Valley construction, and it will not slow down current progress. Now, what could slow down current progress is the LA Times today just released an article that congressional funding for high-speed rail across the country is in jeopardy, including California. So if we are going to move forward with this project, we need to move forward with legitimate information, and that's what this bill requires the high-speed rail to accomplish. With that, I would ask for aye vote.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jones, and I agree with Mr. Jeffries that it's unfortunate that we don't have more people here listening to better understand the challenges of high-speed rail. Unfortunately, I can't support your bill today, although I certainly agree with your concern and your sense of fiscal responsibility, because as soon as I took over as chair of this committee, I began to understand that there are significant questions about the existing ridership numbers. But for me, I'm not convinced that starting from scratch is the best way to handle it. And I think that's possibly what Mr. Jeffries was trying to take in as well. I think that there are ways to work with the existing numbers to increase the certainty of some of the assumptions that were made based on those numbers. So what I intend to do is work with Assemblymember Gordon, and I believe, is that the committee you were referring
That's
to?
correct, yes.
And work with that budget subcommittee that oversees high-speed rail to see if it makes sense to require the authority to develop new revised information as we move forward on the budget. And that's what I intend to do.
Okay.
For that reason, I can't support your bill today. Is there no motion? No motion.
You don't have a motion? I'll go ahead and move it.
Call the roll, please.
The motions do pass as amended to appropriations. Lowenthal?
No.
Lowenthal, no. Jeffries?
Aye.
Jeffries, aye. Ashajian? Blumenfield? Benia? Buchanan? Ing? Mitchell? Galgiani? Logue? Miller? Miller, aye. Norby? Miller, no. Miller, aye. Miller, aye. Thank you. Norby?
Sure.
Portantino? Solorio? It's 2-1.
2-1, it passes.
2-1.
It's on call. Thanks, Mr. Jones. I look forward to working with you. Really
Madam-
appreciate your concerns.
Thank you. Two things, if I may, Madam Chair.
Please.
Again, would like to ask for reconsideration if at the end of the day, once the add-ons are.
Absolutely.
And then one other thing is I would consider an amendment if it would help the chair, putting a deadline on a new study. It was brought up by testimony that it would take 12 to 18 months to accomplish that new study. If the chair would have a time frame in mind that would help you be comfortable with the bill, I'd be happy to consider that.
That would be part of the reconsideration,
Great.
Mr. Jones.
Thank you.
Very good. All right. Who do we have to present next?
We don't.
The sergeants are caught.
Excellent. All righty.
See where I'm at? I have Galgiani, Huffman, Dickinson, Ma, and Gordon. I can't believe it. Okay.
So we are looking for either Galgiani, Huffman, Dickinson, or Ma, or Gordon. Going once. Going twice.
answer. Over and the whole thing just falls apart.
Just falls apart. Running smooth. Right?
Oh, my goodness.
Gal Johnny's here. Are you ready?
Yeah.
I keep going back on this one.
We shut down the whole meeting waiting for you. Yeah, you're up.
I'll present.
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to be you and me and Joan. And Jeff's down there too, so he'll listen. Oh, Huffman's here. Oh, sorry. Gotta let Huffman go.
Uh-oh. We're in the elevator together, right?
I think the chair is possibly exiting briefly. Do you want me to proceed with his bill?
Please.
Okay. All right. The chair would like us to proceed. So please present AB 693.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you. This is a bill that we hope will significantly increase the pool of donors for organs and tissue. California is an underachiever in this category. There are currently more than 110,000 people on the National Organ Transplant waiting list. Nearly 21%, or 19%, of that national total live in California. Of those waiting, though, 1 in 3 will die due to a shortage of organs. And in 2009, the DMV processed 8.3 million driver's licenses in California, but only 25% of those checked yes to register as organ and tissue donors. We need more donors in this state, and that requires more outreach. So this is a fairly simple bill to try to address that problem. It will do two things. First, it will require DMV to put a hyperlink on to the Donate Life website on the confirmation page of vehicle registrations that are processed online. So that'll give folks another opportunity to sign up to do the right thing. And second, it will authorize drivers to give a voluntary $2 contribution to Donate Life, with the proceeds benefiting organ donation and education and awareness. This will help address California's low donor designation rate by giving folks more opportunities to sign up. Currently, it is important to understand, currently there's only one opportunity to do this, and that is when Californians apply for a driver's license or an ID card at the DMV. That typically happens about once every 5 years. So I think we can do a little better than that, and this bill will help us in that regard. I respectfully request an aye vote.
We have a motion and a second. Any witnesses in favor?
Mary Mora with Donate Life California in support of the bill. We ask for your aye vote.
Any other in favor? Any witnesses in opposition? Not seeing any. Are you accepting the committee's recommended amendments?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Member questions? Mr. Norby.
How do we compare with other states? Are we in the middle? Are we below? Are we on top? I haven't seen any statistics. I presume all states allow people to donate, or do they?
Yes, each state has their own state registry. In California, it's a private organization with the public partnership with DMV, and we're actually in the bottom. About 33% of the customers that go through the DMV say yes to donation. In other states, we see up to 75% that say yes. So we're actually in the lowest. We've been making some achievements. Since we started the partnership, it was 1 in 5 customers that said yes to donation. Now we're seeing 1 in 3. However, this opportunity to say yes to donation only happens once every 5 years. What this bill would do is it'll present the opportunity to donate on an annual basis.
Could you restate, I think I know the answer, but what organs are donatable? What organs are?
There are 8 organs that can be donated, which include both lungs, both kidneys, pancreas, heart. It also includes the gift of sites such as tissue donation, cornea, skin grafts that helps with burn victims, and the possibilities to save lives through organ and tissue donation are tremendous.
Thank you.
Very good. Any other questions? All right. As a co-author of this bill, I strongly support it, obviously.
Thank you, Mr. Jeffries.
You do have one little bump in the road that has been raised in our analysis that says DMV is spending about $800,000 a year to manage this program beyond the revenue proceeds. I'm not so sure I believe those numbers are accurate and reflect the true costs. Probably substantially less, but something you might want to give consideration to. So please close.
We'll respectfully request your aye vote. Thank you.
All right. Please call the roll.
The motion is to pass as amended to appropriations. Lowenthal. Jeffries.
Aye.
Jeffries, aye. Ashajian. Blumenfield. Benia. Buchanan. Buchanan, aye. Ing. Mitchell. Galgiani.
Aye.
Galgiani, aye. Logue. Miller.
Aye.
Miller, aye. Norby.
Aye.
Norby, aye. Portantino. And Solorio. 5-0, the bill's on call.
Your bill's on call.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Next in the audience, we have Mr. Gordon to present 1164. Please proceed.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair and members. AB 1164 deals with appointments to the High-Speed Rail Authority, and it would require that appointments to the authority by the governor be subject to Senate confirmation.
Move the bill.
Currently, there are 9 members on the High-Speed Rail Authority. 2 are appointed by the Speaker, 2 by Senate rules, and 5 are gubernatorial appointments. And originally, the authority was designed to lead a planning effort. Today, it has an implementation role, one of the largest state infrastructure projects in our history. The confirmation of appointments by the governor by the Senate would allow for additional vetting and consideration of qualifying criteria. It would be a small step to greater legislative oversight of the High-Speed Rail Authority, and I would urge an aye vote.
Very good. Any witnesses in support? Any witnesses in opposition? Not seeing any. Any member? Oh, in the back? Opposition or support?
Opposition.
Opposition. Come on up, state your name and your position.
Good afternoon again. My name is Daniel Krause with Californians for High-Speed Rail. We support and understand the issue of having more influence for the legislature over the High-Speed Rail Authority. We just have some concerns about how far this bill takes the power shift away from the governor, and we would support maybe a modification, but we don't support the way it basically has the legislature appoint 4 and then also have the ability to confirm all 5 of the governor's appointees. So we'd just like to see kind of a shift in how this bill would work. But as it currently stated, we oppose the bill.
Thank you very much. Anyone else in opposition? Are you in opposition? Okay. Are you in support? Oh, come on up.
Don Barnby, Menlo Park. I support this bill.
All right. Very good.
Kathy Hamilton, Menlo Park. I support this bill.
Jerry Carlson, council member, Town of Atherton, and support this bill.
Very good. Thank you.
James Jan, still president of the Community Coalition on High-Speed Rail. We support it.
Holly Millar, San Francisco. I support this bill.
Very good. Any other questions from the members? Would you like to close?
Thank you. I know this committee is dealing with larger governance issues, but I hope that you will give this bill a positive vote and see it as an essential element to complete a larger effort to hold the authority more accountable. And I ask for an aye vote.
Very good. All right, the chair is in support as well. I support it as well. If you have not already looked, you may want to look at, as the bill moves through, what happens if the Senate doesn't act on confirmations and leaves the positions unappointed. You may want to consider some sort of requirement that the positions can stay filled if they don't act. I don't know. The Senate's a whole different creature, different process, and something you may want to think about. So with that, roll call, please.
The motions do pass. Lowenthal. Jeffries.
Aye.
Jeffries, aye. Ashajian. Blumenfield. Benia. Buchanan. Buchanan, aye. Ing. Mitchell. Galgiani. Galgiani, aye. Logue. Miller. Miller, aye. Norby. Norby, aye. Portantino. Solorio. 5-0 on the bill.
5-0 on call.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Dickinson, you're up. This will be AB 716. Please,
Mr. Chairman, members, thank you. This is AB 716, which simply put would eliminate a sunset date on legislation previously passed in 2008 that has an existing sunset date of January 1 of 2012. And that legislation, which we now seek to eliminate the sunset date for, authorizes the Sacramento Regional Transit District, which I may refer to as RT, or the witnesses may, and the Fresno Area Express to implement additional transit security measures to curb passenger misconduct and reduce nuisance behavior in specified transit facilities. I did mention Fresno. I also want to let the committee know that Assemblymember Perea is fully in support of this bill, and in fact will be added as a principal co-author. This bill enhanced the penalties that could be imposed on a violator of any one of several infractions, misdemeanors, or felonies that occur on a transit vehicle or at any transit facility. While violators were subject to fines for each offense, the previous legislation, SB 1571, carried by then Assemblymember Steinberg, established a process by which a repeat or serious violator can be banished from transit vehicles and facilities for up to 1 year. Currently, the problem can arise when someone, for example, commits some kind of offense on one light rail vehicle and is asked to leave by security, gets off at a stop and walks down and gets on the next vehicle. So this would carefully address in a manner consistent with due process the incidence of repeated behavior which is inappropriate and would allow the transit agency, in this case RT or the Fresno Express, to issue an order that such a person could not use the transit facilities or ride on the transit vehicles. It would also extend the period of consideration for behavior from the current 60 days to 90 days, and simply it's a practical problem now that in the space of 60 days those who offend often may not do it as many times as required under the legislation, but if you look at just, say, an additional 30 days, they then would come within the universe of those who could be subject to this legislation. It helps transit riders. It encourages transit use by making sure that people are acting appropriately on transit vehicles. There's no known opposition to this bill, and I would respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Mr. Chairman, move the bill.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a motion and a second. I see you have some witnesses in favor. If you'd like to make some brief comments without going too long and jeopardizing the motion and second he's already earned, please proceed.
Well, I'll be very brief. My name's Mark Lonergan. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for Regional Transit here in Sacramento. We hear time and time again that passenger security and safety on board the system is paramount. Now, there's a lot that goes into trying to assure that. this is one important tool. 1561 and then 716 moving forward continues the notion that public transit can be a privilege, like your driver's license. You can lose that privilege for certain obnoxious acts on the system, and so we fully support this.
Very good. One other?
Good afternoon, Mark Sakaue, Sacramento Regional Transit. I oversaw security for about 10 years for RT, and I think this would be a great bill. Thank you.
Very good. Now, the chair has a limit of 2 giving any lengthy speech, so please state yours pretty quick.
Ken Ham, Director of Transportation. Members, thank you for this opportunity. Fresno supports this.
Very good. And in the back there?
Gus Court on behalf of the California Transit Association and support. Thank you.
Very good. Do we have any testimony in opposition? Not seeing any. Any member questions? Not seeing any. Please close.
Thank you very much. I'd ask for an aye vote.
Very good. Thank you. Roll, please.
The motions do pass to appropriations. Lowenthal. Jeffries.
Aye.
Jeffries, aye. Ashajian. Blumenfield. Bonilla. Buchanan. Buchanan, aye. Ing. Mitchell. Galgiani. Galgiani, aye. Logue. Miller. Miller, aye. Norby.
Aye.
Norby, aye. Portantino. Solorio. 5-0. It's on call.
5-0. It's on call. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Ms. Galgiani, you're up. And after you would be Mrs. Ma, if she shows up. You're going to take up AB 145 first. Is that correct?
That's correct. Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. The enactment of my bill, AB 3034 in 2008, which placed Proposition 1A on the ballot, created the high-speed train project. And the authority is now conducting the environmental reviews and completing the design and engineering work throughout the state necessary to go to the construction stage of the project. As the high-speed train project proceeds, there is a need to bolster the institutional structure of the authority, strengthen the operational and administrative capabilities of the state's high-speed train project management, and provide additional state fiscal and programmatic oversight. AB 145 will establish a new Department of High-Speed Trains within BT&H to strengthen the operation and administrative capabilities of the state's high-speed train project. AB 145 will define the duties and responsibilities of the new department, as well as the relationship between the new department and the authority. The governance structure set forth in this bill mirrors the current relationship between the California Transportation Commission and Caltrans. The new department will carry out the day-to-day activities of constructing and implementing the project, while the authority will continue as the policy-making body. AB 145 will help protect the state's financial interests and establish further oversight of the activities and use of the funds to be invested in high-speed rail. And it will ensure that an adequate public forum and transparency is maintained regarding its development. I ask for your aye vote.
Very good. Any witnesses in support? Are you guys in support?
Yes.
Okay, come on up. Please proceed.
Thank you again for your time. I'm Daniel Kraus, Californians for High-Speed Rail Executive Director. We think this is a very sensible reform bill. We believe in more oversight for the authority, and also to put it into the same level as a Caltrans is very valuable to the project. It will help, proceed with construction. They have more ability to do things like Caltrans does when they do large construction projects. So there's a lot to like about this bill, and we support it.
Very good.
Yes, thank you. Nick Cronowet. Thank you. Nick Cronowet, also with Californians for High-Speed Rail. We really appreciate this particular bill because it keeps the authority stable as we move forward into construction, too. So that was one thing we really wanted to emphasize in this, because we do really agree with the reform going forward.
Very good. Thank you. Others in the back, are you in support or in opposition? Opposition. Okay. Any others in support? Not seeing any. Those in opposition?
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. My name is Jenna Price. I'm with the Planning and Conservation League.
and we respectfully oppose this bill unless it is amended. We appreciate what this bill aims to do and feel that placing the High-Speed Rail Authority under a department is a good first start to provide the oversight that a project of this magnitude absolutely desires. But allowing the High-Speed Rail Authority to continue in the current manner, under the current structure, with or without oversight, is something that we cannot support. Under this bill, the High-Speed Rail Authority will still be allowed to select the routes of the high-speed train system, as well as advise both the Business, Transportation, and Housing and the Department of High-Speed Trains on all high-speed rail matters. We feel that the current authority is not qualified to make these decisions and ask that you give consideration regarding who sits on the on the authority. Excuse me. The Planning and Conservation League wants to see a high-speed rail system in California, but one that is done right, and with decision-making that ensures that this multi-billion-dollar project's price tag doesn't unnecessarily grow any further. We do hope we can work with the author and the committee to further on this issue to come to a point where we can all agree on a bill. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Please proceed.
Yes, thank you. I'm James Jans. I'm president of the Community Coalition on High-Speed Rail. The Community Coalition on High-Speed Rail is a grassroots nonprofit corporation working to make sure that high-speed rail does not adversely affect the economics or the environment of California's existing communities. We oppose 145 because it does not change the operations of the authority. We think the authority has done a good job of promoting high-speed rail, but that it's essentially a promotional body and that it's not capable of actually developing and building the project, as many critical reports have noted. What this essentially does is move the authority's box on the state's organizational chart from one place to another, but it doesn't really change the makeup of the authority. On the other hand, we would support Senate Bill 517, which is similar, but which makes more fundamental changes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Others in opposition, please state your name.
Jerry Carlson, Town of Atherton, opposed to the bill unless amended.
Kathy Hamilton, CCHSR Board and resident of Menlo Park, opposed the bill.
Don Barnby, Menlo Park. I oppose the bill, but I do support SB 517.
Holly Millar, San Francisco. I also oppose this bill and support the Senate Bill 517, I believe it is.
Very good. Thank you very much. Anyone else in opposition? Not seeing any. Any questions from the members? Yes, Ms. Buchanan.
So, could you just briefly explain again the relationship we're going to have between the High-Speed Rail Authority and now the this department? Because we've got, I mean, we in terms of who's going to, we've just brought in a new president of the to run the High-Speed Rail Authority last year.
A new executive director, yes.
We went through the whole budgeting process talking about the risk manager and the other people. Are they now going to become employees of the department, or are they still part of the High-Speed Rail Board? So could you just sort of review that for me?
Well, the discussion about the staff that were being added to the High-Speed Rail Authority, it's problematic that here up to this point now, they are still not added to the authority, and that's been a real hindrance going forward because there are a lot of concerns that can't be addressed and we can't speak with community members when they're still working with the same small staff that they had prior to the bond's passage. But that's another matter. Once those positions are filled, hopefully this year with the help of the Department of Personnel Administration, they will be working under the authority as it's structured now. If this bill passes and is signed under law, then those staff members will be working under the direction of the executive director, and the authority staff will make the decisions based on contracting and engineering route alignments and so on and so forth. And so the authority board members would be more in a relationship similar to the CTC Commission as it relates to Caltrans.
So let me just restate it then for myself. So what happens is the authority will become the governing board I assume, and the employees of the authority right now will move down to the department and be the ones who are actually tasked with the project
Yes.
itself.
Yes.
And so then the executive director will become the executive director of the department, not the authority.
That's correct.
We're on item number 2. Questions from the members?
Okay. Ms. Galgiani, first of all, forgive me for stepping out for a moment. You know, I share your passion for high-speed rail. Appreciate all the work that you're putting into it, and also how much I've learned from you. I expect that to continue for a very long time. As the committee analysis points out, there are over 24 high-speed rail bills currently pending before the legislature. The bill before us today clearly is not a final product. There are a lot of moving parts, and it will take some work to eliminate overlap, duplication, and conflict among the many provisions. But this bill is a good beginning. It makes a strong statement that the organization of the High-Speed Rail Authority needs to be restructured. As the bill moves forward, I know we'll work together to craft legislation that represents the best of all these ideas. So I want to thank you, and I'm supportive of your bill.
Thank you very much.
Would you like to close? Oh, Mr. Norby, before you close.
If this passes, it's high-speed trains from now on, right? Not high-speed rail.
Well, those terms are used at the same time together, depending on who you're talking to.
Well, trains is better. I caught that. I mean, trains move. Rails just sit there. So, I mean, I think you should say, yes, it's trains, not rail, because trains emphasizes the thing that's moving instead of the thing that just sits
Your
there.
point is well taken. Thank you.
Would you like to close?
Yes, I would invite those who oppose the bill to come and meet with me about the amendments that they're suggesting. As was mentioned, this is the starting framework for the bill going forward, so I would respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you. Was there a motion?
Yes.
We have a motion?
In a second.
Okay. Could you please call the roll?
The motion to pass to appropriations. Lowenthal.
Aye.
Lowenthal, aye. Jeffries. Jeffries, aye. Ashajian. Blumenfield. Bonilla. Buchanan. Buchanan, aye. Ing. Mitchell. Mitchell, aye. Galgiani.
Aye.
Galgiani, aye. Logue. Logue, aye. Miller. Miller, aye. Norby. Aye. Norby, aye. Portantino. Solorio. It has 8 votes. It's out.
8 votes. Your bill is out.
Thank you.
Thank you. Your next bill?
AB 492.
Yes.
AB 492 would allow the authority to consider the number of California jobs that would be created during the contracting process. It is believed that between 94 and 96% of the jobs will be performed by California workers. The remaining balance will be performed by those who are providing their technology expertise. For example, in Japan, they have the best earthquake management detection system in the entire world, and that was evidenced by the recent earthquake and tsunami, whereby there was not one single fatality. So again, the balance, the 94 to 96% of the jobs have the potential of being used and created for California workers here. I will note that China is one example of a country that has been cognizant of this policy preference, and they, as a result, have entered into a contract with General Electric whereby they would share their technology for high-speed train sets and use General Electric workers to actually manufacture and assemble the trains. This is an effort, this bill, to simply urge the authority to consider the number of California jobs that would be created.
Thank you, Ms. Galgiani. Do you have any witnesses in support? Any in opposition? We have a motion and a second. Any comments from members? Other than we all want California jobs.
Yeah, my only question is,
Mr. Norby.
Consider the creation. Is there a quota here? Is there a requirement? Just consider it.
No, once we get into a quota or requirement, we run into trouble. And the other thing is we're not exactly sure. Again, it's between 94 and 96% of the jobs that could be potentially performed by Californians moving dirt, tunneling, excavating, building bridges, viaducts, laying track, etc. But the exact balance, we don't entirely know. So rather than have a prescriptive definition, I have moved forward with a broader definition that allows us to be more nimble.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I'm certainly supportive of this bill. Would you like to close?
I ask for your aye vote. Thank you.
Thank you. And of course, we're all for California jobs. I see no reason to oppose this bill. Could you call the roll, please? Do pass to appropriations.
Lowenthal?
Aye.
Lowenthal, aye. Jeffries? Jeffries, aye. Ashajian? Blumenfield? Bonilla? Buchanan? Buchanan, aye. Ing? Mitchell? Mitchell, aye. Galgiani? Galgiani, aye. Logue? Logue, aye. Miller? Miller, aye. Norby? Norby, aye. Portantino? Solorio? The bill's out, 8-0.
Your bill is out, 8-0. Thank you. We have one more bill. Can we do some of the bills on call? We don't have enough people to do that. What?
No, wait, I think you have to do it on. I think you have to.
How many people does it take to?
Can we have staff present for Mall? I mean, would that be okay with the chair?
Can we get staff to present for Mall? Yeah. Yeah, get the staff.
You call them up.
We're calling her staff.
Oh,
Kevin, we're calling her staff.
We have a letter to
Yeah,
do staff.
Her staff.
And then go ahead and have her present. Do these staffs here.
Staff.
Yeah. Wait a second.
353.
Members, we are hearing before any. Excuse me. We have a presenter for Ms. Ma, who is chairing Natural Resources, so we're happy to have a substitute. Please proceed.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members. First
Welcome.
and foremost, thank you. I would like to extend my gratitude and thank you on behalf of Fiona Ma for allowing me to present, seeing as that she is unable to be here at this time. I am pleased to present AB 1041, which is a district bill. This bill will eliminate the sunset date on the San Francisco pilot program that uses transit-only lane cameras, which are designed to improve safety, reliability, and performance of the San Francisco Municipal Railway transit vehicle system. The MUNI for short, I'm sorry. The MUNI is one of the oldest transit systems on the globe and is actually the 7th largest in our nation. With 63 routes, 7 rail lines, the MUNI serves as a vital hub to the San Francisco Bay Area, moving over 200 million customers every year. In order to move so many people quickly and efficiently, obviously the MUNI must be reliable and safe. As a method to reduce the congestion and accidents within the city of San Francisco, Assemblywoman Fiona Ma carried a bill in 2008. Was chaptered in 2008, which was AB 101. AB 101 implemented a pilot program that allows for MUNI to enforce parking violations in transit-only traffic lanes. by using forward-facing cameras. With the implementation of this program, a study was conducted that showed from 2009 to 2010 there was a 47% decrease in bus zone violations, as well as a 44% decrease in double parking violations in these transit-only lanes. Alrighty. Okay.
Well, let's see if we can hear from witnesses in support.
I have Kate Breen with the San Francisco Municipal Transportation Agency to speak on behalf of the bill.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chairwoman, members of the committee. Kate Breen, San Francisco Municipal Transportation Agency. We run the MUNI, which is the transit system in San Francisco. We also are responsible for parking and traffic and taxis. We're multimodal, and we're friendly to all users, drivers, pedestrians, bikes, and transit riders. We are here today as the original sponsors of AB 101 with Assemblywoman Ma's leadership. This is a pilot program, and we're looking to reauthorize this program today. We would ask that it be reauthorized on a permanent basis so that we have the assurance to provide to our vendors and our staff from a budgeting point of view that this is a program that will be going forward and that we can do some of the additional developmental work that we need on software and other aspects of implementing the program effectively. We have other witnesses here, and I know it's been a long day, so if you have questions, we're here to answer them, and I thank you. I ask for your aye vote.
Thank you. Next witness in support.
Adrian Ricker, SFMTA, here to assist Kate and help with any questions.
Tim Yarian, representing the California Public Parking Association, in support of the bill.
Steve Wallach on behalf of the City and County of San Francisco, also in support of the bill.
Mark Watts, representing the County Transportation Authority, and we're supporting as well.
Anyone in opposition? We have a motion and a second. Were there any comments from members?
Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Jeffries.
Is this your first bill?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, it is.
May we have the liberties that we have with our members on the floor? That wouldn't be fair, would it?
Mr. Norby.
Bradford had a bill like this last year, right? I don't know if it applied to San Francisco. Did it apply to some other place? Because we had the same statewide, right?
Street sweeping, cameras on street sweeping.
Right. I mean, the idea makes sense because you're saving labor. Right. And I don't see a privacy issue because if you have a person writing the ticket, they're going to see your license plate anyway and writes the ticket. So it's just a matter of if you can do this cheaper and better.
Correct.
The question is, can you? There have been some issues here, right? And are you actually saving money and being more efficient with this?
I think that I will say that as a pilot program, which the Bradford bill, in fact, did very much build on a statewide basis, and as we see a pilot program turn into a statewide program, we're going to see improvements on a rollout. We had to create this program from whole cloth. And so I think we were very full disclosure in our report to the legislature that some of the initial challenges we are working through, and we are optimistic that it will, in fact, prove to be a more effective way to utilize limited resources such as our parking control officers who can be redeployed on other critical downtown locations during the peak when we can have the vehicles themselves actually enforcing parking violations in the transit-only lanes.
This is different, I see, Madam Chair, than the red light cameras, because the red light cameras, you're not going to get the ticket if the camera isn't there. Here, it's either this camera or parking control officer. You're getting the ticket anyway. It's just a matter of how efficiently they can do it. So I supported the Bradford program. I'll support this.
Thank you.
I'm certainly in support of this measure. You did a great job presenting the bill. I think that San Francisco Muni knows how to handle their own area, and you're doing that. The pilot has worked out, so you want to proceed with this in the future.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to recommend an aye vote. There was a motion and a second. Would you like to close?
Yes, I would also like to add that the amendments that are reflected in the analysis to be added as authors' amendments. So I just kind of wanted to.
Thank you. So the motion is do pass as amended.
I'm sorry, yes.
You did a great job. Nothing to apologize for.
On behalf of Fiona Ma, I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you. Madam Secretary, could you call the roll, please? Do pass as amended.
Lowenthal?
Aye.
Lowenthal, aye. Jeffries?
Aye.
Jeffries, aye. Ashajian? Ashajian, aye. Blumenfield? Bonilla? Bonilla, aye. Buchanan? Buchanan, aye. Ing? Mitchell? Mitchell, aye. Galgiani? Logue? Miller? Miller, aye. Norby? Norby, aye. Portantino? Portantino, aye. Solorio? 9-0. The bill's out.
9-0. Your bill is out.
Thank you.
Congratulations. You're first, but not your last.
More left?
We're going to lift the calls on the bills.
You done?
Want to go through them? Sure. You want to do?
We're done. Is that why they called me on my other meeting? Yeah, I want to vote on Bill Jones. What happened to him?
It's
You can do it.
resolved. So, I mean, they have to be on.
Would it be on the mic?
Yeah.
You want to start with that? You want to start with that? Okay. Okay, first item is the highway naming resolution. The chair is aye. The vice chair is not voting. The vote's 5-1. Calling the not voting and the absence. Buchanan. Mitchell. Mitchell, aye. Galgiani. Logue. Miller. Miller, no. Portantino.
God forbid.
6-2, it's still on call. 6-2, it's still on call.
6-2, the bill is, the regulation, what is it? Resolution is on call.
Okay. Item number 8, AB 695, Norby, due past appropriations. The chair is aye. The chair is no. The vice chair is aye. I'm calling Ashajian, Blumenfield, Buchanan, Buchanan, no. Portantino. Item number 8, 695. Portantino, no. The bill fails. It's 4-8.
The bill fails, 4 yeses, 8 noes. Reconsideration granted by unanimous consent with no objection.
Next item is item 5, AB 474, Jones. The chair's no. The vice chair's aye. Blumenfield? Bonilla? Bonilla, no. Buchanan? Buchanan, no. Galgiani? Five, 7. The bill fails.
What was it?
5-7. The bill fails.
5-7, the bill fails. Reconsideration granted by unanimous consent with no objection.
Item number 10, AB 953, Jones. It's due past appropriations as amended. The chair is no. The vice chair is aye. Ashajian?
Aye.
Ashajian, aye. Blumenfield? Bonilla? Bonilla, no. Buchanan? Ing? Ing, no. Mitchell? Mitchell, no. Galgiani? Logue? Logue, aye. Norby?
Aye.
Norby, aye. Portantino? Portantino, no. Solorio? It's 5-5, it's still on call.
5-5, the bill is still on call.
Item number 10. Item number 7, AB 693, Huffman, do pass as amended to appropriation. Chair?
Aye.
Chair, aye. Vice Chair, aye. Ashajian?
Thinking about it.
Blumenfield? Bonilla? Bonilla, aye. Ing? Ing, aye. Mitchell? Mitchell, aye. Logue? No.
Item number 7, ABC.
Portantino? Portantino, aye. Solorio? 10-0. Logue, aye. 11-0. 11-0, the bill's out.
Madam Secretary.
11-0, the bill is
Madam
out.
Secretary, aye for myself.
Ashajian, aye. 12-0, the bill's out.
12-0.
Item number 12, AB 1164, is due pass. Lowenthal?
Aye.
Lowenthal, aye. The vice chair's aye. Ashajian?
Aye.
Ashajian, aye. Blumenfield? Bonilla? Bonilla, aye. Ing? Ing, aye. Mitchell? Mitchell, aye. Logue? Logue, aye. Portantino? Portantino, aye. Solorio? Which one? 12-0. It's AB 1164 Gordon, 12-0. It's out.
12-0, that's AB 1164 is out.
Item number 9, AB 716 Dickinson. Lowenthal?
Aye.
Lowenthal, aye. Jeffries is aye. Ashajian?
Was this amended? No.
Ashajian?
No.
Ashajian, no. Blumenfield? Bonilla? Bonilla, aye. Ing? Ing, aye. Mitchell? Mitchell, aye. Logue? Portantino? Portantino, aye. Solorio? 9-0, the bill's out. 1-0.
9-0, that bill is out. Huffman's bill was 12-0. Huffman, 12-0.
Is that it from?
No, we have the highway naming.
Is it 12-0 or 12-1?
12-0. She said 12-0. That looks like that's it. Chris, wait, there's one other one. Isn't Jones still on?
Are we going to do add-ons?
Okay.
The Dickinson bill, she announced 9-0.
I did 9-0.
Are we going to do add-ons?
Yeah.
Oh, I changed mine to yes, keep it 12-0.
Okay. Yeah.
The district deal.
Let's do add-ons.
Right. We're going to read through them. We're going to read through them for app.
Guys, vote on the rest of the stuff.
Just say yes, that's all. We're not going to like this. Sorry.
Go ahead.
AB 16 for add-ons, Wood Mitchell.
Aye.
Mitchell, aye. Galgiani. Miller. Miller, aye. Portantino. Portantino, aye. It's 11.
Denise voted.